Uh, he wouldn't let them resell it until a few years later, but there is a substantial post-abolitionist Black population, descendants in our area, who, as time went by, have been able to sell off some of those 80 plus acres to enormous profit. But today they had a Juneteenth celebration in Buda, which we went to, and I hooked them up with the Seminoles, which they'd never heard of, predictably, and they were fascinated and expressed an interest in coming down for the September Seminole Day. But we'll see if that actually happens. But it was very nice to be there and do that. They had everything. They had the t-shirts and the barbecue and everything. Anyway, that was my day. And if you want to get started on the lessons, we can do that. Wendy, you there? You did it?
I am here.
Okay, and I've been a yeti.
I know I'm muted.
Okay. All right. What I want to do today is look at a couple of recipes and a little bit of culture, and do a sort of cheeky story. And that will take up our whole hour and maybe a little bit more. So if you can go to page 55. By the way, Wendy, can you see my cursor moving on my own screen?
No, I don't, because I'm sharing from my screen. So, yeah.
All right. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
So go to page 55.
Okay, it should start with the word chief say, right?
It should, at the very top, it says Seminole Creole Revitalization Project Session 9.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's 57 for us.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I squeezed a couple extra pages in before the print version. And I'll bring a couple of the printouts to sell in September.
Okay.
But I'm really hoping all of the people signed up for the sessions printing out their own copies.
Yeah.
How will it make out? Gonna dip control with the page there. Can y'all still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So,
Okay.
what I can do, would you like to be the host so that you can control your screen? You can upload, you can share your screen. Is that what you want to do?
I'm not sure how I know how to do that.
Okay.
With Zoom, I'm not all that technical with stuff like this.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
But, you know, ideally, let's face it, everybody should have their own copy of the lessons, and we shouldn't have to be doing this because they would have it right in front of them. So let's find out how many of the people tuned in actually have access to the text, whether printed or electronic. Gabrielle, you do?
Yes, I do. And we're on page 53. Is that where we're starting today?
I think it's page 57. It should say the hogweed.
Yeah, it should say
hogweed.
section
Okay.
9. Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, I do have it in front of me.
Very good. Good man. Let me say while we're waiting, and everybody knows this, but the Seminole Juneteenth is really a solidarity recognition of the state race folks, because the ancestors weren't in this country at that time. They were still in Mexico. So it didn't really affect the Seminoles who showed up some years after that. But it's good. It's good that there is solidarity with the state race freed slaves who incidentally were not told about abolition until sometime later. Same thing incidentally happened with my own people, the Romani people in Romania, when slavery was abolished over there. It's doubtful that the slaves even knew about it. Some of them probably heard about it, but 3 months later, a different government came in and slavery was reinstituted for another few years. So that, for the people who did know it, it must have been pretty traumatic. Anyway, this is Juneteenth tomorrow, and we are trying to get to page 57. If you can't find it, Wendy, I can just do it verbally.
Oh. Let me see. Oh, are you seeing my screen? My screen is on it. I have it. Am I?
Well,
Yeah,
what I'm seeing is the front page with the palm tree.
Oh. It should say Seminole Creole Revitalization Project, session 9.
No, I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing
Oh.
page 1 with the little palm tree border.
New share, you're sharing, your screen sharing. Let me see, let me stop share. And then let me start sharing again. Maybe it'll act right now.
Screen.
What about now?
Oh, now, yeah. Very
Okay.
good. Very good. All right. Let's get started. Hogweed. Hogweed, also called pigweed, the one them plant we're gonna have a strict to care about. All right, it's one of those plants that you have to be very carefully very careful about, because the juice and bun hana hand, if hana touch him, why's hana dep on the getter. Okay, because it's juice, it's sap, will, remember, N is the future. In bun hana, it will burn your hand. And notice it's hana hand. You don't need the apostrophe S, it means it will burn your hand. If hana touch him, why is hana dep on the getter? If you touch it while you are in the act of gathering it, notice that it's get-a-rum and not get-a-um, and that's only because get-a ends with that particular vowel sound, and to make it easier to say, you just stick a R sound in there. So it's get-a-rum, not get-a-um. And I must don't try for taste the raw one them. You must not try to taste the raw. In other words, well, it's all raw, but the ones that are growing, them, plural, and for sure, and certainly, not touch hana yai or hana mouth. Don't touch your eyes or your mouth. Also just means or else. Hanan. Now, hanan is an example of a contraction of hana and your will. Each. Now, each doesn't mean each, it means itch. So you will itch and cratch and joke and holler. Joke is jump and holler means just shouting. So that's easy. Nama da the young leaf them. Now, nama means it's only the young leaf them, the young leaves for pull. Then hit them in hana kettle. Now, kettle, remember, doesn't mean a kettle, not a tea kettle. It's like a bucket or a thing to collect stuff. And boil them good and boil it. The poison part and left outer rum. And there's that rum again after outer. The poison part will left outer rum will leave out of it. But even so, some people still in day where they can't eat them, sucker the logic. So the poison part will leave out of it, but nevertheless, even so, nevertheless, some people still in day, still will be there where them can't eat them, which they can't eat it, saka. Now, saka means on account of the logic. The logic is the allergy. You may be allergic to the sap of this particular plant. But soon as it done boil, take them out the water and throw them in your fry pan with enough butter. Okay, as soon as it has boiled, finished boiling, take it out of the water, and throw them in your fry pan with enough butter. Now remember that enough doesn't mean enough, it means plenty of. Butter, of course, is butter. And fry them good. For this 2 minutes, no more. For just 2 or 3 minutes, but no more than that. Loose them up with water and put saute and little flavoring such as garlic or pepper. Loose them up with water. That means add a bit of water and shuffle it around and separate the cooked leaves and put saute and put salt there and little flavoring such as garlic or pepper and a little flavoring seasoning such as garlic or pepper. That's up to you. Hana can fix celery same way so. So all of y'all can also cook celery as a cooked vegetable in the same way. This kind of greens, one favorite turnip greens little bit. this kind of greens. And notice that although you don't generally show the plural with an S, there are some words where there is an S, but it's just part of the word. Don't see it necessarily as a plural. For example, we talk about shoes, and we could say one shoes, and it means one shoe. And greens, it means greens, but it's not a plural, it's just a general word for greens. So this kind of greens, one feba. Now feba means resemble, and some of you older people know that word, we've had it before, and in your own English, you might say things like, the child favor her grandma. In other words, resemble. So this kind of greens, one favor turnip greens a little bit. All right, that's our recipe. So here is that story, and it's a very interesting story. We've had it once before, but this is another version of the same thing, and it's full of grammar and words. So let's go through and see how we do. Disha, the Tory, but one man of one child. This is a story about a man, not necessarily just one man, but a man who had a child. E, the child, Bina is da, was a gal child, one named Nancy, the one pretty gal. She is or was a pretty girl. Hannah does have a look at the hair on the head, long and curly and black. That's the hair on her head. And the mouth been red like a berry, and the teeth white like a snow. The nose been had leaf pipe on top of to make the whole face stand too fine. So her nose was pointed. Oh, a little point on top of it, but she had a pointed nose. For make the whole face, to make her whole face stand, in other words, be too fine, really pretty. All right, so this gal was fine. Everyone, the man in the whole town been des the hanker at her. Every one of the men in the whole town been des the hanker at her means to, how do you say that in English? Can you say hanker in English? But it means they were just kind of following her around, looking at her and thinking about her. And ataram is ata, which is after, but once again, because of the vowel of ata, it's rum and not So ataram means after her. Two, in particular, the one hunter and one butcher. Then again, a liar and a doctor and a businessman been dead amongst the set of them too. All right, then again, what's more, a lawyer and a doctor and a businessman were there, been dead amongst the set of them, amongst a bunch of them too. So it wasn't just two in particular, there were a couple others who fancied this young woman. All right. Out of all of them, man, we've been a try for Cote de Guiard. Out of all of those men who were trying, been the try for Cote de Guiard, trying to court the girl, date the girl, Nama the businessman, Wabin Winnie Ha. Nama, I think we had that before. It means only was the businessman who had won her heart. Wabin Winnie Ha. And we marry him. And who married her? Actually, that's a mistake because In Seminole Creole, the verb to marry is married, not marry. So this ought to be marriedom. Nevertheless, it was only the businessman who got to marry her. No, married, M-A-R-R-I-E-D, and then space, yeah, and we married him. But it's not the past tense of marry, it is simply the word that means marry, okay? So, for the first, they've been happy together, but out of while, everything done begin for change. At first, they were happy together, but after a while, everything done begin for change. Everything started to change. All right. In this town, what I tell her about, one little boy been there, we been still to go school. Him been good looking too. All right, in this town that I'm telling you about, there was a small boy there who was still going to school, and he was good looking. And even though Nancy been have everything why man give him, where he need for keep be satisfied, the one something where the man never scarcely give. Scroll on there. Okay, so let's look at this first, because there's a subtext. In this town, what I tell her about, in this town that I am telling you about, one little boy been there where we still to go school. Him been good looking too. And even though Nancy been have everything way man give, even though she had everything that her husband was giving her, what he need for keep her satisfied, what she needs to keep her satisfied, the one something we man never scarcely give. There was still one thing, one something that her husband never could scarcely give her. And we can all figure out what that is in the context of man and wife. So when he see this schoolboy, he begin for love him. So when she saw this schoolboy who was good looking, she started to fall in love with him. He begin, not begin, but begin, he begin for love him. All right, Nancy husband, the businessman. And on that count, he used for left it home for go far away and left the woman behind. Nancy's husband is a businessman. And now, remember that N has a couple of different meanings. One is the future, but it also just means and. And here it just means and. Nancy husband is a businessman, and on that account, because of that, he used for left it home. He used for to leave home for go far away and left the woman behind. And he would go away on business trips and leave his wife behind. Now and again, he even to go to Europe. Now and again, he even would go to Europe. So he'd be gone a lot. Because of that, it is because of that he don't ever had a time for day with his wife. Because of that, he don't ever have the time to be with his wife. That's so. Das so is a contraction of da plus so, obviously, which means it is so, or it is because of that. He make it easy for Nancy and the schoolboy to take care of them sneaky backdoor business while she not in town. So it is because of that, it made it easy for Nancy and the schoolboy, which she presumably had already made her attraction known to take care of them, sneaky backdoor business, to take care of their sneaky backdoor business whilst in town, while the husband is not in town. All right. It just so happened that the hunter and the butcher been a good friend together before the gal tell them say now we want them, either one. It just so happened that the huntsman and the butcher been the good friend, were good friends together before the gal tell them say we want them either one. They were already friends before the girl Nancy told them say means that we want them either one. He didn't want them either one of them. So when them see that the little schoolboy who can get the goods, in other words, is throwing a leg over Nancy, them get too jealous. They were jealous. So then plan for tell the husband about what his wife depan. Depan is depan, and we had a session on depan, which simply means to be engaged in. So the two of them, the butcher and the what was the other one, the businessman, told them, hang on. So they planned to tell the husband about what his wife depan, what his wife was up to. The butcher wait till the man come home from his travels, then he go to a house like for say he want sell him some meat. So the butcher waited until the man came home from his travels. There's a plural right there, English plural, and that can interfere. Then he go to a house, like for say, as though to say, or pretending to say, he wants to sell him some meat. So the butcher man goes to the businessman, Nancy's husband house, pretending to sell some meat, but in order to start some gossip. After he done sell the meat, he began for running mouth about the schoolboy. So after he had sold him the meat, he started to run his mouth gossip about the schoolboy. He tell him, say, every time he go away, the little boy can come over to your house and take care of your wife and mess with your things. He told him that every time that he went away, the little boy, now kin here means usually, come over to a house and take care of his wife and mess with his stuff. And that can mean more than just the wife. He say the true Tory because himself been see him with his own eye. So the poor husband asks him for true. So the poor husband asked him for true, and he tell him, say, sure enough, the true, it's really true. Then the husband say, if I find out, say the true, I go and give her $500, but if her the lie, I go and shoot her. I go and shoot you. Okay. Now we keep using Hannah, but you can use you as well. You can use Hannah and you interchangeably. I've only been focusing on Hannah to make ASC more distinct from English. Okay. The butcher swear to God, say the truth. The butcher swear to God that it is the truth. Now we know that true here means truth, not simply that it's true, although it could mean either one. It's the truth. All right. When the time reached, the husband set him trap. Now, set him trap. Him is the emphatic version of eat. And so we're making a stronger point here in the story that the husband is setting a trap to catch his errant wife. So he tell his wife, say, tomorrow I have to go to Europe. Do meaning please. Pack all me things. Now, things is often pluralized, even in the deep Creole. Pack all me things and fix me something for eat, because I can't hardly swallow that buckrabiddle with them to give me on the boat. So do please pack all of my things and fix me something to eat, because I can't hardly swallow. And I've got cane here. You might have can with a y sound, but cane and can are both possible negatives of kin. Some verbs, and there's a section on this, certain verbs have their own separate negatives that don't have a n in front, and kin is one of them. I can hardly swallow that buckrabiddle, that white folks food, what and the kiwi that they give us on the boat going to Europe. So the wife Nancy go to the market and he buy one big fish and he carry him back home. Kya doesn't mean necessarily carry in your hands. It just means take or accompany. So she buys the fish, she takes it back home. Some of that you fry and some of that you dry out for later on. You cook up greens and gravy enough for the man. That's the husband. But he left the best part of the fish to one side to keep him for his schoolboy. So, and this, there's some blues songs that talk about you give your husband a hot dog and your boyfriend a steak and that kind of thing. And this is what she's doing. She's putting a little bit of food aside for the husband, but she's leaving the best part of the fish, keeping it for her schoolboy. And he collect all the husband things together and pack them in a bag. And the next day the man say, I'm ready for go. You have to go to Europe, and one day wife carry him to the airport. All right, so all of that is presumably clear to y'all. He's getting his wife to carry him on his way. But the wife never knows been a trick him. So go with him to the airport and then take 2-3 drink and then tell them goodbyes. So the wife drove him to the airport and they stayed there to say goodbye, and they had a drink at the airport and they say goodbye. And Nancy take a taxi for go home, but he not go straight home. He go to a chukla house. I think we had chukla before, it just means sweetheart. But he not go straight home. She didn't go straight home. He go to a chukla house. She went to her boyfriend house for tell him say, the man done left town, to tell him that her husband had done left town and he could come to him in the evening for some fun. At the gal taxi, drive off. The husband called for one taxi too. So remember, he didn't get on the plane. He's hiding to one side, watching what's going on. And after the wife's taxi drove her away, he called his own taxi. And because she had stopped off at the boyfriend house, he got home first. He reached back to the house before the woman, and he take the time to go upstairs for Heidi said. So he had plenty of time, once back to his own house, to hide up in the attic, up under the roof. All right. That evening, schoolboy dress out clean, ready for wife for do. So schoolboy's getting fixed up for his evening with Nancy. He reached the house and Nancy opened the door, asked him for step inside. He goes in, Nancy tell him to sit down. He play really cool jazz on the record player. Then he go to a man closet and take out one of man best robe. Give the schoolboy for wear. All right, he told the chukla boy to sit down, and he put some cool jazz on the player, and then he went to her husband's closet and took out one of the husband's best robes and gave it to the boy to wear. And then he take the fish where been hide and fix one plate of fine fish and pepper stew for the boy. Notice the spelling of stew. It's not stew, the way most Americans pronounce the word these days. It's stew, which is the Creole pronunciation, which is closer to the British pronunciation. I talked about that last session. And he take his husband liquor and he pour a good shot for the young boy. And so he's serving the husband's best booze to the boyfriend. Adi done eat and drink and listen to the music, them side for the down on the bed. All this whole time, the husband in the hide upstairs. And from where he did, he can hear everything and see every little thing what it go on. So all this time, the husband is hiding up in the loft in the attic. And from where he did, from where he's at, he can hear everything and see every little thing what it go on. So he can hear everything and see everything what's happening. And he heard his wife say, that's what make a love, honey. And she's talking to the boyfriend. That's what makes me, or that is why I love you. Honey, see this your mom would have keep me, this me husband. See this husband of mine, this man looking after me. He have a heap of money. He need to give me everything what I want, but he can't satisfy in the loving department. So the husband is not all that good in certain skilled areas. The husband still dip under hockey, everything what to go on. Now, I don't know if we've had hockey before, but it just means to be listening to. The husband still dip under hockey. The husband is still in the he's still busy listening to everything what's going on. The woman tell the chukla, Hana have a try to take care of business. This your liquor going to help Hana. And if Hana want more, I going to give Hana more. So you are going, okay, it gets a little ranchy here, but y'all grown people. The woman told her boyfriend, you're going to have to try to take care of business. And this here booze that I've been giving you will help you. And if you need more, I'll give you more. And when you're done, I'm going to give Hana $100. And when you've finished, I am going. Now, Guan is the long form of N. The future marker N is short for, first of all, Gwen. And Gwen is a form of the English word Guan, which is going. I'm going to give you $100. So with a little bit of English interfering into ASC, but you're going to hear that. People hear English and it interferes. But she's saying, if you can take care of business, I'm going to give you $100. But she's not through at this point. She says, but Hannah ain't forgot this yet. And if introduce me. Okay, let's just skip this bit. It's a little bit rude. She wants a bit more action. The boy tell the chukla, all right, I go and try to get a trank and then do the thing one at a time again. And let's try one more time again to get it out. The boy finish his stew, then them all two means both of them, go back to the parlor, the sitting room, the living room, and listen to some more music. When he get to about 10:30, the boys say, and I want to say something about 10:30, because these days, young people don't say that anymore. They say 10:30. But if you're going to speak Creole, and if you're old like me, you're going to say 10:30, not 10:30. So when you get to about 10:30, the boys say, Lewi mekesia, kisa fidsi, then by lotti do, pami, if I late. All right, this needs some explanation. Lest we make haste means let us hurry up. Lest we make haste. Do we make haste? Yeah, let's hurry here. Kizafedsi, because I am afraid that them while lock the door, they are going to lock the door upon me, if I am late. Because remember, he stays, well, we don't know where he stays, but presumably if he's a schoolboy, he may be staying in some sort of dormitory that has a door. Anyway, he needs to leave. So they go back in the room for make baby eat again. Then lock the door and get to it. All right, make baby is another Seminole way of doing stuff. This young man has a lot of energy, obviously. So after all of that, he take off the robe way to wear. He took off the husband's robe that he is wearing, and the gal take him and throw him under the bed. That's significant. He took off the husband's robe, dressing gown that he was wearing, but the girl took it and didn't put it back on the hanger in the closet. She threw it under the bed. And the whole live long time, the husband been there upstairs to watch them and to listen to them every word. And while all of this is going on, and the whole live long time, her husband was been dead upstairs to watch them and to listen to them. Them every word means their every word. The them there is the possessive, their every word. All right, when them at last finish with them business, the gal take a clean towel to the bathroom for let the boy take a bath. So there's time, obviously, for him to take a bath or a shower. And then he put on his own clothes and kiba himself with scent water and talcum powder. Kiba is cover. Scent water is aftershave, presumably, and talcum powder. So you all know what that is. He's making himself presentable. And she says, Nancy, tell him, say, let me carry Hannah to the corner and y'all go Hannah $100. Let me take you to the corner, and here is, y'all go means here is Hannah $100. Here is y'all, not y'all, but your $100. And he carried the boy about halfway, and she took him halfway home. Why's them been out of the house? And I can see a mistake here. It should be why's them been day out of the house while they were out of the house. Put a Y there. Yeah. What has happened? This is interesting because what has happened in Gullah is that been has come to mean the past tense of be, like in English, being. And I haven't come across this in Seminole, but the correct Seminole should be West End been day. Out of the house, the man come down from way behind. He opened the door. Opie is open, but that is sometimes Opie. You open the door and go outside and go yonder to make like he did point way back home. So he is now running a kind of con here on the wife. He goes outside and he's going all over the place as though he was coming back to the house unexpectedly. The gal don't reach home again, and without he know say husband in day up there, he go lay down, go sleep. Nothing at the bother him. She thinks that she is in good shape. The girl had reached home again, and without knowing, without he know, say, without knowing that the husband in day up there, knowing that her husband had been up there, he go lay down, go sleep. She went and lay down and went to sleep, and nothing to bother her. Nothing's bothering her. She thinks he's quite safe after her infidelity. By about 1 or 2 in the morning, he hears somebody to knock on the door. By about 1 or 2 in the morning, he hears somebody knocking, knock on the door. She says, "Who that?" The husband says, "To me." "It is me." She replies, "To me who?" "Well, the husband." It is her husband. The husband asks him, "Gal, hana no, me wife's no more." "Girl, you don't know my voice." Now, no more here doesn't mean only. That's why it's often spelled as though it were one word when it means only, but here it means anymore. You don't know, you don't recognize my voice no more. And so the wife says, "Lord, what happened?" And the husband says, "The boat been left me behind." The boat left me behind. She is now confused. She's playing for time. "You say the boat left, Hannah?" "You say the boat left you?" "Yeah, I've been supposed to come 1 o'clock and I've been hanged." Scroll up. "Yeah, I've been supposed to come 1 o'clock and I've been hanging around there till out of 1, but he ain't come." He must have been done left already. It must have already left already. You go inside the house and you tell your wife, say, "Do fix me lily bill for eat. I'm too hungry." Goes inside the house, told his wife, "Please fix me a little something to eat. I'm really hungry." You man take the biddle. Biddle is food. Warm him up, and the man eat till he most bust. Then also go lay down on the bed. And after so, if the man ate until he almost burst, and then the two of them went and lay down on the bed. Whilst them the lay down there together, he turned to his wife and he tell him, say, "Woman, I feel bad." While they were lying there together, he turned to his wife and he told her that, "Woman, I feel bad. All the time we have to go travel yarn day to go to Europe and thing, and not get enough time for see about business when I does stay home." Okay, this is another interference. But let me explain about that. He says, "Woman, I feel bad. All the time all the times that I have to go traveling here and there, going to Europe and so on, I don't have enough time to see about our business as husband and wife when I stay home. That does, you might hear that. I wouldn't have put it in there when I does stay home, when I do be home. It been this too long since we had a chance to do any loving. Lest we get to it right now. And here's the problem. Because he's come back and he knows exactly what's going on. She does not. She is all worn out from being with her boyfriend. And now here's her husband wanting to take care of business. And so she says, nah, I ain't able. I tired and me belly to hurt me. So she makes an excuse. No, I'm not able to make love. I'm tired and my belly hurts. The man answered back, say, what kind of talk that? Can another feel sorry for your husband when you never get the chance to lay down with your wife for the past 5 months? And Hannah come tell me, say, Hannah too tired to see about your man. Get your ass over here. The man answered back, what kind of talk is that? Don't you feel for your husband? Have you no feelings for your husband when he hasn't had the chance to lie with his wife for these past 5 months? And you come telling me, and there's that come. Remember in the last month's session, I talked about this various use of come, which is kind of an aggressive word. Besides meaning to physically come to a place from another place, it can also mean like be up in my face telling me that you're too tired to see about your husband. Get your ass over here. And you can figure that one out for yourselves. So the gal Tafa take off his clothes, but he do them slow, he take his time. So the girl started to take off her clothes, but she did it slowly. She took her time. All right. The husband, to look on top him, and he say, yeah, scroll up. You know, say that thing can talk. Now, look on top just means look at. So the husband, the look on top him, the husband is looking at her, and he say, yeah, Hannah knows that thing can talk. Girl, you know that that thing can talk. And he finally finger upon his wife, coochie. And you can look up coochie in your dictionary. And you can figure out what it means. So he pointed his finger at his wife's place. He say, Nancy, I tell you, say that thing they can talk. So he's freaking her out. He says, that can talk. It's going to tell on you. And then he pretends that he's listening. He lean his head to one side and kakiyes. Kakiyes means he's lifting up his ear to listen, like he'd listen to what the Umas give to tell him. So he's pretending that it's talking to him. And he pretends to the wife that there's a conversation going on. He say, ha, listen now, he's telling the wife, your thing to tell Tori Panhana, your thing is reporting on you, telling stories about you. Eh? Now he's back talking. Hana thinks I'd lie. What? You think I'm lying? I swear. Hana Kuchi to tell all your business. I swear it's telling all of your business. What a him? What a him means what is it? What is your business? And he's listening on the one hand and talking to the wife on the other. So he's repeating what he's being told, or pretending that he's being told. One little boy been come here today. A little boy came here today. What time he left? He left around 11 o'clock. Eh. And the boy say he want to go home before them shed him out to him house. What? And the boy said he needed to go home before they locked him out. And what did boy do then? He make us finish the bill. We hunna give. So what did the boy do then? He hurried up. Make haste means hurry up. Finish the bill. Finish the food we hunna give, which you gave him. He make us finish the liquor we hunna give. He hurried up and finished the liquor that you gave him. Uh-huh. You say Nancy began one of my new robe for wear, and now you're telling me that Nancy gave him one of my new robes to wear? You see, Nancy been shoved me robe under the bed, and you say that Nancy threw my robe under the bed? Let me see. Uh-oh. Gracious me. See what I just find it. Okay, so he's really messing with it. He's being told all these things, that she threw the robe under the bed. She didn't hang it up. And he says, let me go look. Uh-oh, gracious me. Look what I just found there. He shows stand like a meal. It surely be's like mine. It surely is like mine. And then he turns to her. I'd tell her, gal, your skivvy can tell all your business. And you showed me in one set of trouble now. You know, see? So he says to the wife, it has told me all of your business, and you are sure enough in a whole lot of trouble now. Can you not see that? Then he asks his wife's gift again, see, and then he asks his wife's thing again. Tell me, Coochie. Coochie, by the way, is not Seminole. It's a stateless word. What more you know? What else do you know? Oh, my wife gave him $100 for a task. That's an interesting word right there. What else do you know? Oh, my wife gave him $100 for a task. Now, task means a job of work. And that clearly is what it means here. He said, even though a blind give him everything what he need for live nice, even though I blind usually give him everything what he need for live nice, even though I give her everything that she needs to live nicely, he's still not satisfied. She is still not satisfied because he ain't never home for do a husband and post for do. Because, okay, this is still what he's being told. And he's repeating what he's hearing. So you're telling me that even though I'm giving her everything that she needs for a nice life, she is still not satisfied because I am never home to do husband duty. And then he turns to Nancy and he says, your skivvy done put Hannah good. Your skivvy has reported about you, told on you good. And I vex, and I am angry. Vex means angry. I too vex, and I'm done tired with this, and I'm fed up with this. He get up and left the room. He got up and left the room. He not look on top of his wife. He not say one word to her. He didn't even look at her and say a single word to her. Go to your own room. They obviously had two separate rooms. And he put one record upon the record player and he sit down to listen to her. So he's kind of shutting her out. Went to his room, shut the door, turned on his record player. The woman get vexed. He believed saying, Coochie, don't give him done get him into a whole set of trouble. You mind give him for punish him. So he go in the bathroom and he take one big tick and he begin for flaggy coochie with him. The story gets a bit weird here. The wife, Nancy, got angry because she thought that the coochie told tales on her. And she wanted to punish the coochie. So she goes in the bathroom and she took a big stick and starts to beat herself there. And all while see the flagger, and all whilst she is flogging herself there, she is either telling it, Coochie was remember Hannah Yai see, Hannah for keep Hannah mouth shut. She's saying, whatever you may see, you got to keep your mouth shut. Keep it to yourself. Nancy been like to die from the beating, but he ain't died. So she was actually beating herself with a stick there, really excessively, like she could almost die, but she didn't die. Instead of that, he go and he lay down to a man. So instead of that, she went and lay down to or next to her husband. All right, the next day, day clean. Day clean means daybreak, early morning. The man get up, go about the business in the town, something can do every day. The man, the husband, got up and went about his business in the town, sucker he can do. Sucker, and you really should not try and figure out what the English words are underneath the Creole. Just learn sucker, which means in the way that. It comes from such as, but don't put it back to English. Just think that sucker means such as. He can do every day. All what happened been still there upon the woman mind, but everything that happened was still there on the woman mind, on the wife's mind. So he tried to go find one conjure man for asking advice. So she decided to go and find a conjure man. A conjure man is like a herbalist, magician, for asking advice, to ask his advice. He tell the conjure man everything will happen, and the conjure man mess with the rooted thing, and then he tell the woman, say, "Oh, the one foolish woman. Not your skiffy way to tell your business. But then when somebody tell him." So the conjure man who was messing with his herbs and potions and stuff, and he says, you're a foolish woman. It wasn't your body part that was revealing your secrets. It was a person. W1 somebody tell him. It was somebody who told your husband. Somebody been approached you to your husband. Somebody reported you to your husband. And the girl said, "You sure? Are you sure? I swear to God, I want her to fix that person. And before he die, I have to know what I need." Girl said, "Are you sure? I swear to God, I want her to fix that person." Now, fix in this context means to put a spell on. Doesn't simply mean take care of. It means specifically to bewitch or curse or put a spell on that person. And before he die, before that person dies, I have to know what I name. I have to know what is his name. Then the conjure man do all the fixing, and he lay one heavy fix for kill who'd have been tell the husband about what wife gonna do. Then the medicine man did everything he needed to do, and pretty soon he put the spell on the butcher man, and the butcher man dropped down dead. But before he died, he tell everything. So the butcher revealed what happened, and this time last word. The count of me mount I the left this young world. And the butcher man said, it was on account of my mouth gossiping, I am leaving this world. And then he died. All right. In them days, if the fix we person died from, now this is a bit of culture here. In them days, if the fix we person died from, then not been bear somebody in the town, then been have a bear them far away in the brush. Back then, in them days, if somebody died from a spell, a fix, they could not bury somebody in the town. They had to bury that person away in brush, means the bushes out of town. Them have a carry the body into the distant brush. They have to take the body into the far off boondocks, I guess. And that's where they buried the butcher body. And that is where they had buried the butcher's body. All right. Things that go along, that first business, they out of the way. All right. Everything's happening. And that first part, that first business is out of the way. Time to pass, time to pass. And this hunter, the one we've been a the butcher friend, and we will tell the butcher about the schoolboy in the first place, him plan go hunting most every day. So this hunter, who really was the bad guy or the gossip, he would go hunting every day. And one day, he was day in the brush, and he yeti somebody to call him. Say, howdy, good friend. One day, he was there out in the bushes, out in the country, and he heard somebody calling him. Hey there, good friend. Howdy, good friend. He turned to see who that had talked to him. He turned to see who is that talking to him. He not see nobody. Accusing for one head bone on the ground. He not see nobody. He didn't see anybody. Accuse him for, except for one head bone on the ground. Head bone is a skull. Head bone. He sees a skull sitting there on the ground. He's afraid. He's scared. He's afraid. He say, huh? Who'd have been tell me how? The head bone tell him, say to me. The skull is talking. He says, it's me. The man say, what honor to do ya? What are you doing here? And the head bone give him answer. Say, my friend, that me mount bring me a soul. Whatsoever honor ya see, honor, but keep honor mouth shut. So the skull now repeats that advice that the husband had given the wife roundabout way. Whatever your eye sees, just keep your mouth shut. And you don't get too scared. Hunter got really scared. He big and run. He run kids. He never see nothing like that in his whole life. He never saw anything like that in his whole life. Once he reached the town, he go to the chief and he tell him, Chief, I see one dead man head bone today. What can talk? Chief, I saw a dead person's skull today that can talk. The chief laughed hearty upon him. He say, what kind of talk that? Hana crazy? You know, she say, they are busy to do me work and Hana have to come here for bother me about head bone, what a talk. Go along from here. Let me alone do. You come here bothering me about skulls that can talk and I'm so busy. Just leave me alone. yes, I am. Let me alone. Okay. Still, the hunter want for making case. He tell him again, say, but chief, I've been seeing for true. What make I never come here before to tell you this? All the gods and yes, we have been a hunt. If I'm lying, why have I never lied like this before? All the years that you've known me, I've never come to you with stories like this. I tell you, chief, I've been seed a head bone with all to me own yai. I've been yeti wise say with all to me own yes. I heard everything with both my own ears. All to is both, yes, his ear, yai is I, that head bone can talk. And the chief say, for true, all right. I go and give Hannah 2 soldiers to go with Hannah, the whistle, the head bone day. I'm going to give you 2 soldiers to go with you too. Now, here is another duh. I did a section on the different does before, and this particular da is a preposition. It means to. Wisse means where. So the wisse de head bone de means to where the skull is. The wisse de head bone de. Cusin, Hannah too scared for go de alone and bring him back with Hannah for let me see him. Except that you are too scared to go there alone and bring it back with you to let me see. And if he to talk true, that's good. If the skull is telling the truth, that's good. But if he ain't can talk, if it cannot talk, now here we've got an unusual negative in early Seminole. This is probably later Seminole. You would either have, instead of ain't can talk, you might have had can't talk, possibly not can talk. I would have expected can't talk, but ain't can talk shows influence from English. Problem being that N sounds too much like the future N. Anyway, I go and kill Hannah for you to waste me time. If that skull cannot talk, ain't can talk, I'm gonna kill you for wasting my time. Don't forget, this is the chief. Then the hunter tell him, say, chief, more better, Hunter can give me 10 soldiers for go with me. Better that you give me 10 soldiers to go with me. The hunter and the soldier then go back to the same part where we first meet the head bone. We tell him howdy. And when you find him, we tell him, good friend, we don't come here for tell Hunter howdy. But the head bone not say nothing. The skull is keeping quiet. Hunter says, oh no, the hunter. So he pick up the head bone, he check him and he say, this going talk after the last. This is gonna talk if it's the last thing it does. Unless we come to the chief, unless we take it to the chief, then come back to the chief. They took it back to the chief, and the chief asked him, say, this year that the head bone were to talk, this is the skull that talks. You might say, yes, or the him. Yes, it's him. The chief asks him again, say, this year to talk, this here can talk. Make a talk now. Make it talk now. Make it talk now. I go and give Hannah 4 hours for make it talk. And if you not talk, I go and kill Hannah. So the chief is threatening the hunter. I'm going to give you 4 hours to make it talk. You better make it talk. And if you cannot, I'm going to kill you. Now, this is me or the narrator, the storyteller saying, let me tell all Hannah. If Hannah could have seen that man, he'd been a sweat sucker hog. We already had sucker a little while ago. He gripped the head bone, he hollered upon the head bone, he checked the head bone, he begged him, I'd a beg Hunter good friend taught for we do. But the head bone nussy one matter what. The chief tell the hunter he gonna give him 2 more hours. But he tell his soldier them, Hunter get ready for shoot this man. The head bone mouth still shut tight. Another but 1 hour left, and the man begging for cry and asked for his wife and his mama. He studied to beg the head bone. All right, nada means only 1 hour left, and the man starts to cry and he's asking for his wife and his mama. He studied a beg. Study we had earlier on, it means he's continually begging the head bone, but nothing. At last, the time ran out and the soldier shoot him, kill him. And as he been a dry last living breath, yet the head bone said, at last the time ran out and the soldiers shot him, killed him. And as he drew his last breath, he heard the skull say, Whatsoever Hunter yai see Hunter, but keep Hunter mouth shut. Whatever your eye sees, keep it to yourself, keep your mouth shut. And this bit, this last line is actually African from Sierra Leone. Tori come and Tori go, he love one Hunter for tell the next one. And stories come, stories go, and it's up to you to provide the next story. And obviously this is a group of people sitting around telling stories. And when one story is finished, the request comes, okay, who's got the next story? And that was today's story. And I think, I don't know what time it is. Let me have a look. It's nearly 6:30, which is probably about right. Any comments, questions? Let me hear.
I have a question about just the nature of the stories.
Mhm.
All of them seem to have like a jokester sort of quality to them. Is that just our people, your opinion, that they're, these stories are all kind of
Cheeky.
yeah, they're so interesting. I've literally not really heard like, I've read African tales like the trickster tale and tales and things like that. I just find it so interesting that, all the stories that we've studied so far all seem to have that element of, someone getting their comeuppance, basically.
This is just my opinion, but it has been said before that a lot of the traditional stories amongst people originally from Africa, now in the Americas, who had endured slavery, the stories sort of disguise the triumph of the weak over the powerful. That's not what happened in this story. In this story, it was the smart over the dummy.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it showed that it's easy to fool people who are not hip to the real world. It may be a lesson about don't be naive. If you're going to survive, know when to keep your mouth shut. And there is that saying that if you keep your mouth shut, nobody knows how stupid you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the second version of that same story. And it brings up a couple of questions about the interference of English. And you have to keep in mind that for over 100 years now, except for down in Nacimiento, the Creole has been spoken in an English-speaking country.
Mhm.
And so people are hearing English all the
Yeah.
time. And with all Creole languages, it will interfere. And because of the similarity between the vocabularies of both languages, it's very easy if the Creole form doesn't immediately come to mind, you just say it in English. And there's also, and this may be particularly true in the case of Seminole, and one reason why it was kept secret for so long, people were also ashamed of it. Let's be honest. Whenever Buckers heard it and didn't understand it, of course they would. And what ignorant people do when they don't understand something, the first reaction is to make fun of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and that's a universal human response. And so when teachers would hear kids speak in Seminole, they would immediately criticize it and say, well, I heard you say something in English, but you're not speaking properly and you probably get punished. Speak properly or keep your mouth shut. And that has had over the years huge repercussions in Creole communities and schools, in
Yeah,
Creole
certainly.
communities, where kids were simply scared to open their mouths for fear that the teacher will criticize them in front of the class. Terrible thing, but very common. Anyway, that's just a side thought.
Yeah, that's certainly something that happened with my family. And I wonder how many families that happened to here in Brackett, because it was only one child. My grandmother had 11 kids,
Mhm.
and one of my oldest uncles was speaking ASC after desegregation, and he immediately came home, and I don't know if the teacher contacted my grandmother, I'll have to ask, but it only took him, and then the rest of the kids were forbidden to speak it.
Yeah.
So, and I wonder if, I had never thought about how that probably happened in several families around here.
Well, there's something that I've been writing about.
Mhm.
Nothing new, but I've been writing about this lately. Outsiders going into Creole-speaking communities have always dealt with Creole speakers who have been trying to speak English to these outsiders and not speaking it very well. Obviously, somebody who spoke ASC would not have spoken it to a Bakra, right?
Yeah.
So he or she would have been doing his or her best to speak English, but making mistakes because it's not the first language, it's the second language. But then that person, especially people writing books, would go away and try to reproduce at a later time, without notes, their perception of what they were hearing, and then put it down as Creole in their books. And of course, it wasn't Creole. Creole languages exist for Creole speakers to speak to other Creole speakers, not for Creole speakers to speak to outsiders. And that is a basic truth about Creole languages, but Creolists for so long have not realized that. It's only now in the past few years when we have actual Creolists, linguists who are Creole speakers themselves. For so long, it's been outside white academics going into Creole communities and then recording with tape recorders and so on, and not getting it right
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like now linguists, definitely with you included, have to be sort of revolutionary in the way that they decide to approach a language. Because at some point with ASC, we might get to a point where we don't have words and we will have to decide, where do those words come from? And will we consciously just let the English-based word come through, or will we search for an African loan word, or a close Creole cousin, or a Spanish word? How would we do that?
Well, you
You know?
cannot do that, because if you're just a simple, plain old Brackettville person who speaks Seminole,
Yeah.
where are you going to go? You cannot
Exactly.
go to other Creoles. You cannot go to dictionaries. You're going to use what are you going to call a computer?
Exactly.
You're going to call it a
Yeah.
computer, right?
Yeah. Unless there is a Sierra Leonean word for computer that we,
Yeah, but
I guess the question is,
what access does the average Brackettonian have to languages in Sierra Leone?
Amadou.
I'm here. I'm here.
He's there, okay. Now, if I can, and I keep doing this selfishly, talking about one of the languages I actually grew up with, the language of my mother's people,
Mhm,
which is the opposite of ASC,
mhm.
in that the grammar is English, but the words are not.
Okay.
The words are not. So if you don't use the words, then you're just speaking English, because everything else is English.
Mhm.
So if I wanted to say, look at the girl, I would say, dick at the Rackley, right? So it's all English except dick, which means look, and Rackley, which means girl. So if I lose the vocabulary, then I'm just going to end up speaking English, which defeats the whole purpose of the language.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
what we do is, if we don't have a word for something, we combine the words we do have to come up with a new word for something. I'll
Mhm.
give you one example. We call a television a Dickenmukta. Well, I already gave you the word dick, which means look, dick at the Rackley. Dicken means looking, English grammar, ing.
Mhm.
Mukta means a box. So
Oh,
a Dickenmukta is a box you look at, and that's what we call a TV set, which is the opposite of Creole, where you would just use the straight English word. You wouldn't need to fake it.
yeah.
All right, Wendy, is this our very last session after one whole year?
I know. Well, we still have Seminole days, so we still need to figure out
Oh, yes,
the
yes.
3-day or how we're going to do that.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's what we need to sit down and figure out is, what everybody's time is looking like. Like it could be something where every day of Seminole days, that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have a lesson, since everybody will be here.
Well, like I said, I have reserved 2 nights at the fort.
Okay.
If it needs 3 nights or 4 nights, there's still plenty of time to do that.
But we still probably need to make a decision now, so it's easier.
Well, let's get some feedback from who all plans to be there
Exactly.
and what we're going to do over 2 or 3 or 4 days. We'll be in the schoolyard.
Yes.
Um,
More than likely in the air-conditioned school. So,
Yes,
yeah.
that too. Um, there's clearly some planning needed here.
Yeah.
I would like as big as possible group to be there. But there is, first of all, the problem of accommodation. We've really only got the fort, right?
We only have, yeah, we do only have the fort,
And then that
and
costs
that
money.
fills it. Yeah, and it is a little more expensive than, I mean, there are places in Delray and Uvalde, but you don't want people having to drive. It's much easier just to be.
Well, I talked to somebody, I think I told you at the beginning of today's session that I was at the Juneteenth
Mhm.
event in here in Buda, which has a really interesting historic Black population. They hadn't heard, obviously, about Black Seminoles.
Yeah.
Were absolutely fascinated when I told them, and they want to come to Seminole Day. And I said, you should. But if you want to come, you're going to have to plan ahead and get accommodation, and it will cost money. And it's not just accommodation, it's also feeding yourself for a number of days. So, let's really put our minds to this, because time is going by.
Yes.
And Amadou, what do you think about all of this?
I think it all sounds good. I'm trying this time for sure to get some of our Gola kinfolk to come to this event, either Victoria Smalls or Aunt Pearlie Sue.
Yeah.
I think Wendy knows Aunt Pearlie now from seeing her a few times, right? Or hearing
I
her.
do. Yeah, and Victoria Smalls. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
And
we're
also
hoping that.
Oklahoma people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
So,
given the accommodation situation, we really have to act quickly and tell everybody to act quickly if they want to be there. Otherwise, and I spoke to some people today who said, well, we can stay in Del Rio and drive up. And of course they can. They can do that. It's only 25, 30 miles.
True. I think what most people find though is, they will stay in Del Rio, but then they'll say, oh, it would have been so much easier if we had just been in Brackett, because if anything happens, there's that 30-minute drive time. And yeah, it's not that far away, but still, I think people do like to kind of be in the vicinity of everything. What we'll do is we'll put together a list, because there are more people that are doing Airbnbs here.
Oh, really?
Interesting sort of side. Yeah. Yeah. There are more people doing Airbnbs here because there is a need. Like, they've definitely recognized how hard it is to get accommodations. So, and if anybody wants to sleep on an air mattress on the floor or something.
That's brilliant. How many?
I think right now we have about 4.
Oh, right. That is too cool. Denise has a meeting, I think in Washington, D.C., but we'll get back on the morning of the 16th.
Okay.
And we'll drive by herself. Probably I can picture me and Amadou driving down together before, but it's a little bit too soon to say, but she wants to be there too.
Awesome.
Is it possible to block off some rooms at the fort, say maybe 20, 30 to a certain
Do we
date?
even have 20 or 30 rooms?
Do they have that many rooms?
I don't even know if we have that many rooms, but normally we do block off about 3 or 4. And then we'll, make accommodations, like, we'll just block them off, like say in my name or my aunt's name. And then whoever needs that room will, pay for it once they get here and stuff.
We can
I think 4 is probably the most we've ever done.
But, at a pinch, I remember when Amadou and I both shared a room, there were actually 2 double beds, and at a pinch and enough alcohol, we could get 4 people in one. What about the camp? What about the camp?
Right now it's still closed. So I don't think it's accessible.
Oh,
But you know what? A lot could change between now and September.
uh-huh.
But as of right now, I think it's still, just closed to everybody. I don't think anybody's accessing it right now. There is a realtor who's interested in I guess, putting it on the market.
Oh,
But I
God,
don't
we
think
have
they're-
got to save the camp. We have got
Yeah.
to save the camp.
So that's the last that I've heard is that, someone was asking if it was for sale.
Yeah, let's talk to the Kinney County big shots and
Yeah,
maybe get to
because
meet.
that used to sleep so many people.
I know.
And
I
that was, you didn't even have to worry about where to stay.
And we had such good times there.
Yeah.
But also there are some big houses there. I remember what family was that? Sarah Johnson them. They had one house, they had about 6 or 7 rooms.
Yeah, that's the Gray Wolf Lounge, and that's now, I think, private again. So it used to be sort of like an Airbnb before it became popular. Yeah, and it has you can sleep 20 people, but it's
Right.
no longer. But you know what? I'll double check because it wasn't on the market, but then it was at one point, like when we had all the DPS guys here. So we can double check that.
Okay, so
What I was gonna say before we go, Dr. Ian, I had a question with regard to honor.
oh yeah,
So I realized in that story that both the man and the woman in some cases were referring to a single person as honor.
yes,
In Sierra Leone, honor is plural. We wouldn't
Yes.
say honor to refer to just one person.
unless you meant you and your bunch.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, that's absolutely true. But in both Gullah and ASC, you can call one person Huna.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
But and then I also, sorry,
Oh, no, you're fine.
I was gonna say I also noticed that when it came to the $100, it was the same honor.
Yeah.
To say it was $100, right?
$100, yeah, $100. Yeah, a lot of the words sound the same, although they are quite different words.
Context.
And I think, I'm guessing, but when I read in my atrocious Seminole accent, it's easier to figure out the sentences than just seeing them written,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
because you can put the stress where it belongs.
exactly.
But what is remarkable to me, really remarkable, is how similar Seminole Creole is to Sierra Leonean Creole, given not just the geographical distance, thousands of miles, but the time distance that separates the two.
Mm.
And yet they are so similar. And if you, my Sierra Leonean friends, if I try out some of the Seminole sentences on them, they say, well, you're just speaking Creole with an English accent.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm able to understand about 90% of these stories as I mean, some of the words are different.
Yeah.
Like but I get it. Once I figure out what it's supposed to be saying, I understand the whole sentence, all paragraphs. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one thing, coming back to, I think, the first question about the nature of these stories, some of these stories for Western ears sound a little bit raunchy. They are not the least bit raunchy in Creole culture. You can say all this rude stuff, and people don't be shocked.
They don't bat an eye.
They don't bat an eye because it's natural life. It's
Mhm.
everyday life. But some of these stories would shock and this last one that we did is fairly tame. Some of the stories, especially the African stories, and you could compare some of the African American blues songs,
Mhm.
which are really, really X-rated for the wrong audience.
Yeah.
You have to look at the culture involved. You cannot judge one culture by the values of a foreign other culture.
That's true.
Okay, I gotta go.
Dinners are waiting, huh?
So when do we get a planning meeting for September, Seminole Days?
You know,
Let's have
so
Let's
yeah,
have a business meeting.
yeah, I think we should. It shouldn't be a month from now, right? It should be within the next week, 2 weeks or so that we can get an
Yeah.
early start on.
I will be out of the country for the first 2 weeks of August,
Okay,
but I'm
so
available.
July, yeah. So yeah, we basically start planning Seminole Day starting like Monday, now that we're basically done with Juneteenth.
Mhm.
So, and there's, you know, it pretty much writes itself every year. We just have a difference of speakers and, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we can definitely plan this simultaneously, but the earlier that we get everything together and get information out, that'll allow people to plan. Because also, I don't know what travel is going to look like. Plane tickets, I think there's a lot of cancellations that I've heard of recently. So, you know,
Yeah.
it might be a matter of people finding or having several different ways to travel if airlines aren't cooperating.
Mhm.
So yeah, the earlier the better. So yeah, maybe,
Should we do it next week then?
yeah,
Next
somewhere in
weekend, next
July,
Saturday?
yeah. Is it still
Yeah.
June? Yeah.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so yeah, I'll send something out to everybody and see when everybody can meet. But definitely, like, you know, Gabriel, we want him in on the conversation, and Kevin, who's actually here in Brackett, he came to Juneteenth with us. And I'm pretty sure he'll be back for Seminole Days as well. Should be a part of the conversation as well. So
Yeah.
So you identify the folks that need to be on the meeting. And we
yeah,
go from
definitely like the core members of this group that we need.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Go.
Oh man, bro. I'm in Delaware. I did Delaware. Akawaka. Me
Nah,
own
they-
family.
Now there you day.
I did this right now. See, this is my rental car.
You know, I will sit down, you waste now.
No, sir. I saw that in that story when the husband said, "Bring your ass here."
Uh-oh. No go that side. All right. Usted una de café with Naya.
I need to.
Yes, you
If you
do.
say we, yes, yeah, we'll talk about that maybe
Yeah,
in the next couple of weeks.
Say no, say you get wet for two.
I will send you a picture.
Okay, all right. God bless everybody.
Thank you, guys.
y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good
Bye-bye.
day.